I might actually pick the relationship between Cam Newton and the Patriots and Bill Belichick specifically. Now, unlike Tiki, I'm less convinced that he automatically wins the starting job. I'm on the record. I believe Stidham will start week 1. Cam will be in a sub package just on the lack of reps and game stuff. And we'll see ultimately. But a former teammate here, Teak, is painting a picture that might not be too rosy for Cam Newton with his new coach and his new franchise.
No, I think that, one of the things that Cam has to fight, and you just alluded to it, BT, is he hasn't had any reps. Like, he hasn't sat down in a meeting face-to-face with Josh McDaniels. They haven't got up on the chalkboard or whatever it is. It's I don't know, they're smart tablet boards now these days. But he hasn't got up there and drawn everything up and proven that he has a complete understanding of what they're asking him to do. So it's happening now, but he's, it's truncated. But I think this offseason creates an opportunity for him to do that, to surpass Jarrett Stidham. One, because he's a vet. He's been around. He has a track record of success. But more importantly, BT, they got a month, right? It's not like they have, 2 weeks into playing a game and you got to prove yourself in the game without having a complete understanding, as it normally is in training camps leading into preseason games. There's a month. Actually, there's more than a month of time for him. And we also are not going to see Jarrett Stidham show that he's heads and heels above. And given the option, I think that, Bill Belichick might lean towards the vet. And if he fails, then you go with the young kid and you play it out from there. So I don't think that Cam coming in as the savior gives you as much of an option going forward.
Well, I think one thing we definitely agree on, eventually Cam Newton's going to be playing quarterback for this team, whether it's week 1, like I think, or whatever. But eventually he's going to get the rock, and he's going to get a chance to show who he is and where he is, more specifically, athletically and physically. Here's the quote from Kyle Love. This, to me, is really, get out of here. Is that a bomb for the Yankees? Oh, that was a replay, Gardner. My bad. Quote, this is just my opinion, but I don't feel like Cam can take the pressure of coaches talking down about his play. If he had a bad game in Carolina, all right, the coaching staff wouldn't say much to him because they may have felt he could be a little frail about it or maybe pout. Wow. They never really corrected to the point. Bill used to correct Tom Brady. Bill's going to be Bill, and he's going to let Cam know how he feels no matter what. Everybody's treated equally, and I actually love that about Bill because that lets the whole team know you're going to be held accountable. Wow.
That's interesting. That's interesting. It really is, but I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that it could have fallen into that category. Now,
what do you mean? What do you mean, though?
So most quarterbacks didn't get talked down to. Like, they just don't. You don't want to sap their you don't sap their confidence. You don't, at least not publicly.
You think that's the way it is? I'm not saying you're wrong, but you really believe that?
I do. It was that way with the Giants, whether it was Kerry Collins or Eli Manning. Maybe they got, chastised, which is a strong word for it, but maybe they did in the private meetings, but they weren't in the, team meeting or at least the offensive meeting as we're watching the games getting, left hook after left hook because they made a mistake. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's most situations. Now, Bill Belichick is a different animal. And I think Bill Belichick, just like his head coach when he was with the Giants, Bill Parcells, knows how to push people's buttons. And he knew, and he, I guess, knows that Tom Brady could handle it. And maybe Tom Brady even wanted it. Because Tom's that personality, right? He's never been pampered, Tom Brady. I mean, he was nowhere. He was nobody coming into the National Football League.
Dude, he had a split time his senior year in college.
That's right. Exactly.
With Drew Henson.
Think about that.
Yeah.
The greatest quarterback of all time. Didn't even start full time at his senior year. Not like his sophomore, junior, transfer, didn't really play. His senior year at a place that he spent his entire college career at. He didn't even start full time. And now he's the best quarterback of all time. So nothing was ever handed to Tom Brady. So getting yelled at and told you're doing things wrong is probably like motivating for him. And so maybe he needed it, right? Maybe he needed to be handled that way. Cam Newton, not so much, because Cam Newton has been successful in everything he's done, from
Junior
high school
college.
to junior college to Auburn to getting drafted number 1 overall, breaking the rookie record for, like, what was it, 400-yard games or 300 yards? I forget what it was.
He had two back-to-back 400-yard games.
Yeah, that starts to start his career. Then he wins an MVP,
Super
takes
Bowl.
the team to the Super Bowl. I mean, so he's had great success because he's a great athlete. And the question is, has he been coddled or has he been pushed through some of those hard times? We'll find out.
Yeah, I like to use the analogy. I always have a little fun. I mean, because everybody's seen all the movies and everybody gets it. You know, the difference when Rocky was in the street hanging with the loan shark, you know, hitting the bounce with the rubber ball and the black leather jacket and doing some unseemly things, versus Rocky living in the mansion with 3 living maids. And Rocky got a little soft, and Clubber Lang just kicked the crap out of him.
Yep.
And then Rocky had to go and learn how to fight. Went to Chicago. Apollo coached him up. He started getting some speed, and he got the eye of the tiger. He got the eye of the tiger back.
Yep.
And he eventually waxed Clubber and got a little retribution because Mickey had passed away when Clubber pushed him and he hit his head. So the analogy here, while Cam, to your point, was successful incredibly early and often. So he wasn't Rocky with the loan shark.
Yeah.
But now he is Rocky without the mansion. All right? And once Rocky lost everything, he had to sell it all off. We all remember the scene. He lost it all. He signed over power of attorney when he was overseas fighting Drago.
Yeah.
Comes back. Paulie signed that he's broke. So he's got to have the garage sale, in essence, and he's got to refine his way. And that's where he leaned on some toughness. I think that Cam Newton is going to really embrace this. I think I'm not saying it's going to be a seamless transition immediately, but I don't think Cam is like, moonwalking into the Patriots facility. Look at me, I'm the man. I think Cam is ready to get dirty, get down to work, and become and try to become a star again. I think he's ready to put in that time, and I think that he'll be receptive to being coached hard by Bill. Now, that's my opinion, but that's what I think is going to happen with Belichick. I really do.
Look, we know how Bill Belichick wants his players to act and behave and how they speak to the media. So far, so good. He came in, said, I'm not talking to reporters. Man, good for him, man. You got to buy into what the culture around you is and what everybody else has accepted. And it looks like Cam is doing that. And if he's working as hard as I think he should be or wants to, because he knows this might be his last opportunity, because if he goes and doesn't do anything or plays horribly, who's signing him? Nobody signed him this offseason, right? There's 3 more or 4 more quarterbacks coming into the league next year. There's not going to be any jobs for him if he doesn't go and get it done this year. So, I mean, it really matters how he performs this season, Cam Newton. For a former MVP, he's in a very unique, odd situation because he's kind of without a home right now, unless he proves himself this year with New England.
A little more of this quote, and then we'll get the update. We'll come back to the blast. New England's not for everybody. This is from Kyle Love. Every player does not fit well there physically or mentally. Being a professional in New England is different from being a professional in Carolina. It's a whole different ballgame. Great thoughts. Really takes you behind the curtain. I don't know who did the interview, but this is great. Bill wants things run a certain way, wants things practiced a certain way, and said a certain way. And my fear is, can Cam fit in that box? Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.